Greetings, Earthlings, and whoever else might be watching. My name is Jazik Smoke. Welcome to my page. This page is dedicated to the quest for truth and the journey of consciousness. Music credit goes to the artist Kaminanda and the album Gateways of Consciousness. Now, I'm dedicated to transcending limitation and providing humor for my fellow humans, as well as for the divine intelligence out of which I am created. In the spirit of dedication to devotional service, I aim to share both light as well as shadow for the sake of wisdom, and aim at the ideal of mastery of consciousness, as opposed to being mastered by one's unconsciousness or becoming enslaved by one's ego. I'm dedicated to leadership development skills, particularly in the fields of art and science and technology, and I cannot emphasize enough the importance of balance between divine intelligence and psychic power. I do believe in the availability of psychic empowerment for everyone, but there needs to be the balance between intelligence and psychic power. They're closely related, but they're not quite the same. I intend to stimulate psychic empowerment for everyone through the practice of dream sharing and the art of shared dreaming. I see mind control, programming, brainwashing, and thought slavery as some major problems with the way things are run on this planet today. I intend to do my part to offer freedom from this mind control slavery, particularly to help overcome addictions, and with the purpose of long-term spiritual satisfaction. I intend to use linguistically gratifying hypnotic suggestion to assist in mutual ego dissolution, as well as transcendence, enlightenment, and ascension. I will be discussing 5 major lenses through which I personally have come to view and regard divine intelligence. These 5 lenses are Christ consciousness, the tradition I was brought up in as a child; Krishna consciousness, a tradition I was exposed to a few years ago now; Hyperionism, aka the Hyperion movement; Raelianism, aka the Raelian movement; and lastly, something that's come to my attention much more recently, that being Heyoka. Heyoka is an indigenous word for sacred clown, and the sacred clown holds a very unique role in society in helping to redefine artificial concepts. Now, I've struggled with my own artificial concepts of divine intelligence for my entire life, and I've come to conclude that my life has been lacking a certain element of devotional service, and the content I'm creating here is an attempt to address that lack of devotional service in a more public way than I have in the past. Now, I'd like to introduce the concepts behind the title of my page, Pharaoh Dynamic. If you were to Google the word pharaoh for a definition right now, you'd find that it refers to a ruler in ancient Egypt who is seen as a god king. He's a political and also religious leader who held the titles Lord of the Two Lands, as well as the High Priest of every temple. Now, this is a modern definition. An older definition refers to the family of the pharaoh, the great house, the royal residence. But even further back than that, the original ancient Egyptian definition of the word pharaoh, which was originally pronounced more like the word parole, think professionalism, meant that which you will become. Now, the phrase that which you will become in terms of governmental authority is kind of foreign to us. We don't see our leaders as people will become, but if you think about the essence of real, true leadership, leadership is performed by example and instruction. And when you have behaviors and actions that you are leading other people through, the aim isn't to create followers, it's to help create other leaders. And when a leader helps create another leader, they become a leader. So the original definition of the word pharaoh embodies the essence of leadership that I intend to represent. This definition was brought to my attention by a man named Drunvalo Melchizedek, who was an initiate of the Great Pyramid and the temples in Egypt. And he referred to Akhenaten, one of the original pharaohs, and illustrated how he served as an archetype for the higher consciousnesses that we are all capable of achieving, or higher states of consciousness, I should say. Now, the other word in the title of this page is dynamic, which can be used as both an adjective and as a noun. As an adjective, when dynamic is used to refer to a process or system, it means that that system is characterized by constant change, activity, or progress. For example, a dynamic economy. When it's used to refer to a person, dynamic means that person is positive in attitude and full of energy and new ideas. As a noun, dynamic refers to a force that stimulates change or progress within a system or a process. And an example would be to say that evaluation is part of the basic dynamic of the project. Now, going back to the Lord of the Two Lands, mastery of consciousness and mastery of unconsciousness, really. The pharaoh was seen as a ruler both in the day, world, as well as like the underworld of dreaming. Now, I intend to offer the guidance in both areas as much as I'm able, but keep in mind that I'm an artist. I'm not a spiritual advisor. I'm not your guru. I'm here trying to develop my own psychic empowerments and grow closer to divine intelligence and lead by example, something that you can learn from. Which brings me to the last definition I would like to give, which is probably a different definition than you have received in the past, and that is for the word God. Now, whatever concepts you have of the word God are relevant. They're very relevant. However, I believe the original intention of the word is something quite different from what most modern concepts describe. That being simply because most people see God as a noun, when originally the word God was meant as a verb. And that verb specifically meant to impart information, to share knowledge, wisdom, instruction, teaching, understanding, consciousness. And quantum physics literally quantifies everything in the physical universe to terms of units of information. So the act of imparting information applies to every level of existence that you could think of. So that's something we can take part of, and we all should. The art of communication and conversation is how people develop relationships with divine intelligence. So feel free to be responsible for the information that you contain and impart. And feel free to see me in your dreams. With that, have a great time.